We usually assume that if our lives get better, our moods will follow. But relying on external circumstances to repair an internal state often creates a circular trap. You are waiting for the result to fix the cause. Your brain responds to specific physical and mental inputs that can be adjusted in as little as 15 seconds. You have likely felt this before. You're sitting quietly, nothing is overtly wrong, no crisis is happening, but suddenly you just feel empty. It's an emotional vacuum. You try scrolling on your phone, you play your favorite music, you search for motivation videos. None of it works. You sit there completely frustrated, unable to figure out why you can't just feel happy for no reason. This frustration comes from a deep misunderstanding. We treat the brain like a mirror, perfectly reflecting the state of our lives. When we feel off, we assume our life must be off, so we sit around waiting for a burst of motivation or a piece of good news to fix the reflection. This waiting period is the exact mechanism that prolongs an emotional spiral. By expecting the outside world to repair your internal chemistry, you effectively pause your own recovery. To break the cycle, you have to initiate the chemical shift yourself. Your brain doesn't simply invent emotions out of thin air. It acts like a detective, constantly scanning your physical body for clues about how it should be feeling. You can test this right now. Gently raise your eyebrows. Relax your jaw. Let the corners of your mouth lift just slightly into a soft smile. Hold those exact muscles in place for 15 seconds. When your brain detects this facial arrangement, it registers physical safety, dampening stress chemicals like cortisol. Notice how this physical signal outpaces cognitive thought. Physiological feedback moves much faster than conscious thought, allowing a physical change to override a negative mood instantly. The biology suggests that the common approach of waiting until you feel happy to smile is inefficient. When you change the physical input first, the emotional chemistry is forced to respond. While physical cues stabilize your nervous system, your mind may still be racing, compulsively replaying old problems or projecting anxiety into the future. To interrupt this, you must apply a specific cognitive label. The moment you feel a dip in your mood, identify the emotion precisely, without trying to solve the problem behind it. You simply say, either silently or out loud, "I am feeling overwhelmed," or "I am feeling irritated." Naming the emotion forces processing power away from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, handling logic. This creates detachment. It's the difference between standing in a storm and watching it from a window. You're observing a biological event, not being consumed by it. Because the brain cannot maintain a high-intensity panic response while simultaneously engaging in logical labeling, the act of naming the feeling begins to neutralize its power. This brings us to a significant hurdle: the assumption that dopamine, the chemical associated with motivation, is a reward released only after we reach a major milestone or receive good news. In reality, the reward system is tuned to the detection of progress. Your brain releases dopamine whenever it perceives the successful completion of an action, regardless of how small that action is. Completing a simple 15-second task, like straightening your posture, triggers a dopamine release because the brain registers a successful completion event. This initial release creates chemical momentum, increasing baseline focus and providing physiological energy to take the next step. This explains why sitting still and waiting for the spirit to move you rarely works. If there is no movement, there is no signal of progress, and therefore no dopamine. Since motivation is a byproduct of action, completing a microscopic physical task is the most reliable way to end a period of emotional paralysis. When you feel yourself losing emotional altitude, you can deploy these adjustments in a single sequence. Soften your face to signal safety, label the specific emotion to engage your logical brain, and complete one 15-second task to initiate a dopamine release. In that minute, your external environment remains the same. Your life problems have not disappeared. However, your heart rate has likely stabilized, and the stress hormones in your system are beginning to recede. Happiness and calm function as physiological states. They depend on specific neural feedback loops that you can influence directly through your posture, your language, and your actions. You are not a passive observer of your own mood. You possess the specific tools to intervene in your own biology and move yourself toward a state of stability at any given moment.